John chapter 2 is a pivotal chapter that includes two significant events: Jesus' first miracle at the wedding in Cana and his cleansing of the temple in Jerusalem. These events mark the beginning of his public ministry and reveal both his divine power and his authority over religious institutions. In verses 1 through 4, we have the story of the wedding in Cana. Jesus, his mother Mary, and his disciples are invited to a wedding in Cana in Galilee. Weddings in the Jewish culture were joyous events that could last several days, and it was a time of great community celebration. During the celebration, the wine runs out. Mary, the mother of Jesus, notices this and brings the problem to Jesus. She says, "They have no wine." Her statement shows her faith in Jesus' ability to help in a time of need. Jesus responds, "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." The key message is that while Jesus' tone might seem distant or even stern, this is a polite and respectful way of addressing his mother, signaling that he is now about to begin his public ministry, which is led by God's timing, not Mary's. In verses 5 through 11, Mary tells the servants to do whatever Jesus asks. There are 6 stone water jars nearby, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus instructs the servants to fill the jars with water. When they do so, he tells them to draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet. When the master tastes it, he is amazed because the water has been turned into wine. Not just any wine, but the best wine served at the wedding. The master remarks that most people serve the best wine first, but the host has saved the best until now. This is the first miracle performed by Jesus, and it reveals his divine power. The passage concludes by noting that this miracle revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. The key message is that by transforming water into wine, Jesus demonstrates that he has authority over the natural world and is the source of true joy and abundance. In verses 12 through 18, we have the cleansing of the temple story. After the wedding, Jesus, his mother, and his disciples go to Jerusalem for the Passover festival. This was an annual event where Jews gathered to remember the Exodus and celebrate God's deliverance. In the temple courts, Jesus sees that people are selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and money changers are sitting at their tables. This commercial activity is taking place in the temple, which was meant to be a place of worship and prayer, not a marketplace. Jesus drives out the animals and the money changers. He overturns their tables and tells those selling doves, "Get these out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a market." His actions are an act of righteous anger, demonstrating his concern for the purity of worship and his authority over the temple. The disciples remember that it is written in the scriptures, "Zeal for your house will consume me." Old Testament Book of Psalms, chapter 69, verse 9. This statement emphasizes Jesus' deep passion for the sanctity and reverence of God's house. This story is also detailed in Matthew chapter 21, Mark chapter 11, and Luke chapter 19. The key message is, Jesus is demonstrating his authority as the Son of God and the connection to Old Testament prophecy. In verses 18 through 22, the Jewish leaders challenge Jesus, asking him, "What sign can you show us to prove your authority to do all this?" They demand proof of his right to act with such authority. Jesus answers them cryptically, saying, "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days." The Jewish leaders are confused and think he is talking about the physical temple building, which took 46 years to construct. However, Jesus is referring to his body. He is prophesying his death and resurrection. After his resurrection, his disciples remember this statement and believe in the scriptures and the words that Jesus had spoken. The key message is that Jesus is prophesying about his crucifixion, death, and resurrection. In verses 23 through 25, during the Passover festival in Jerusalem, many people see the signs Jesus performs and begin to believe in his name. However, Jesus does not entrust himself to them because he knows what is in the hearts of people. This section emphasizes that while people may outwardly show faith in Jesus, he understands the true nature of their hearts. He knows that their faith is often superficial or based on the miracles rather than a deep commitment to him. A key message is that Jesus does not need human testimony because he knows all people and understands their true motivations and desires. There are 4 key themes in John chapter 2. 1. The miracle at Cana reveals Jesus' power over nature as he turns water into wine. The cleansing of the temple demonstrates his authority over religious practices, reaffirming that he is the rightful Son of God and has the right to purify the temple. 2. The cleansing of the temple reveals that Jesus is deeply concerned about the purity of worship. He will not tolerate the commercialization of the sacred space meant for prayer and devotion to God. This act reflects his desire for genuine worship and holiness in the temple. 3. Jesus' statement about destroying the temple and raising it in 3 days is a prophecy of his death and resurrection. His body will be destroyed through his crucifixion, but he will raise it again in 3 days, his resurrection. 4. Jesus knows the true motivations of people's hearts, and while many believed in him, he did not trust them fully because he understood their superficial faith. This emphasizes that Jesus is not merely after outward appearances, but seeks true devotion and a genuine relationship with his followers. John chapter 2 highlights the beginning of Jesus' public ministry through his first miracle and his actions in the temple. It shows his divine authority and his commitment to purifying worship. As we reflect on this chapter, we can ask ourselves, are we seeking genuine worship and a true relationship with Jesus, or are we more focused on the outward signs and benefits? How can we cultivate a pure heart in our worship and service to God?